don't usually pay much attention to a David Moyes press conference. I tuned into this one expecting to hear about youngsters, and because I was interested in youngsters, what I heard was David Moyes speaking candidly about his January transfer activity. I thought, oh, right, okay. Well, I'll have a bit of this. Very interesting what he said. We're going to get into that in this video and in just a second. I tuned in. Look, this game doesn't matter tonight, let's be fair. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Not because the game matters. Doesn't matter. Matters to Zagreb, doesn't matter to West Ham. But I'm interested to see the young players. I mean, so that's why I sort of tuned in, listened to the press conference. And I think he was quite honest when he was speaking about the youngsters. He actually just openly came out and said, I'm going to give some of them their debuts. Well, that's very good. That's brilliant to hear, isn't it? So I wouldn't be surprised if... I don't think he'll play everyone. Unfortunately, I don't think he'll play Perkins from the start. I think he'll play Yarmolenko. Just sort of makes sense, doesn't it? But I think we'll see Perkins a lot earlier than we did do previously. I think if he starts anyone, possibly Ashby and Elise. Got to start at least one of the young centre-backs. Apparently Dawson's injured, by the way, so that's a little bit of a worry. So bearing in mind Dawson's got a little knock. We think he'd be all right for Burnley. Why risk Diop? No point at all. I think he was no way he'll bring Cresswell into it or leave Cresswell for Burnley, so doesn't necessarily mean Longello's going to play. I think he might play Masuaku, actually, in which case. But I'd expect to see a couple of youngsters playing from the start. But he was speaking about... He was very keen to point out we've got senior players there. But anyway, it wasn't really that grabbed my attention from the press conference. It was what he said about signings, about January transfer activity. Now, two very interesting things, and two things that we've actually covered on this channel before. The first one is about the attractiveness, West Ham's attractiveness. We've discussed this a few times. How attractive are we to other players? My point being that we're not just a flash in the pan. If any player's been casting glances at the Premier League over the past 2 years, every time they've had a look, West Ham have been up there. So they'll know. They'll know now. It's not like... Look, Newcastle are going to be going in and going in for players. And Newcastle at the moment, players are going to hold on and think, oh, I'm going to have a look. And they're going to think, well, who are Newcastle? And they're going to have to look. They're going to see they're down the league. And basically, Newcastle are going to have to pay big, big wages. Basically, Newcastle have to pay more money to get the players in. We used to do that, by the way. We used to pay people like Xavier Hernandez 140 grand a week just to get him over. We won't have to do that now. Actually, we'll be able to bring them over for legitimate reasons, which is footballing reasons. They'll be more inclined to sign, given our Premier League form over the last 2 years and what we've done in Europe. And David Moyes has alluded to this, and I was really pleased to hear him say that. So I want to speak about that in just a second as well. The other thing that David Moyes has spoken about is what the business he wants to do in January with regards to positions. And he was singing a very familiar tune, and I've heard him say this before. And he sounds to me like David Moyes getting his excuses in early for not getting a striker. It sounds familiar. I'll read it out to you in just a second. But to paraphrase him, he's basically been saying, we were looking for a striker. We weren't quite able. We tried, but we tried to get one of them before. And it didn't quite work out. But it looks like we might need a defender. I've heard this. Not just in this window. He was chirping this old tune during his first stint, which was very much an Arnautovic and Lanzini. He was saying, these guys score goals. Not worried about goals. It's a central defender we need. And I guess, look, who are we to argue? I mean, what the job he's done is miraculous. Then I thought about it, and I thought, I'm not sure if David Moyes views the things in the same terms as I do, which is we need a striker, we need a striker. I'm not sure David Moyes looks at it in terms of strikers. I think he might look at it in terms of how can the team score goals? I don't think David Moyes cares if it's a striker or a midfielder or someone like Jared Bowen he's shoehorning into a position to suit a need anyway. I think he probably just looks at the average amount of goals we're going to score and the average amount of goals we look likely to concede in. And if basically he thinks one player can help us score goals, another player will help us keep it tight at the back, he's not just going to go out and buy a striker because he's necessarily got an ST or a CF next to his name, basically. I just feel he's preparing us for the fact that he might not bring a striker in. Before I go any further, this video is sponsored by the One Football app. The One Football app is downloadable by clicking the link below. Please do use the link below. Now, know you've come from Hammer's Chat. It's your one-stop shop for all your West Ham needs. Look, it's a Premier League, in fact, it's a world football, global football app. But let's be honest with you, well, if you're anything like me, you're not interested in all the football that goes on in the world. I'm only interested in West Ham and England. When you sign up for it, you can tailor it to your own specifications. So I just put West Ham England, it puts all the news into one place, delivers it straight to my phone. Best of all, it's free. So One Football app, it is the best football app. I'm not just saying that. Trust me, if you don't like it, you can delete it. So David Moyes, going back onto what he said, let's have a little readout of exactly what he said here. And I think you'll probably start to agree. I think he's preparing us for bad news, but it might not be bad news, as I say, because David Moyes probably thinks we can score goals. He said, we've picked up a few injuries to some defenders, so that could make us look differently. He's talking about the January transfer window here. So he's saying, make us look differently. That immediately makes me think, has he got a budget? He's got to have a budget. He's not got an open checkbook, has he? And I wonder again, if it's almost like the summer, whatever he had in the summer, 55 million. If he's been given a budget as well. Moisey boy, you've got 20 million or whatever it is, and he's thinking 20 million, I can do without a striker. Let me get a defender. He says, I think we'd hopefully been looking to add a forward player. But we've had some problems with that, even in the summer window. We were trying to buy, but there was nothing out there. And there's nothing to say that there'll be anything available in January. Again, he's preparing it. So look, we tried. He's saying we tried in the summer. Didn't work in the summer. Might not work now. So he says, so I think it will mean that we have to start considering looking for a defender if possible. I mean, I think it's key. I mean, listen to the words he's saying. I've tried to look for a striker. We tried in the summer. Couldn't get one in the summer. We'd like to get one now, but I don't think it possibly looks like we won't be able to. So we might have to start considering looking for a defender. Again, the first phrase, I think we might have to look at the transfer window differently. He says, we'll have to see how it goes, but there's nothing been decided yet. I didn't like that. I didn't like hearing that, to be fair. Look, if we keep winning games, I don't care. I honestly don't care. If what he does is he shores it up at the back, we keep not conceding goals, and we're really tight at the back, great. I don't really care who scores the goals. I really, really don't. But it's a hell of a risk. It's a hell of a risk going between now and the end of the season with just one striker. Anyway, this takes us to the second part of the video, and the other point I was trying to make is Moyes said that we've been offered better players. This is what I was saying. He said, what I'll say is I've had plenty of top agents putting their players in front of me, and that tends to be a sign that people are beginning to think you're attractive. They don't mean David Moyes is a looker. They're not saying, David Moyes looks like Robert Redford. They probably do look quite alike now. But you get my point. He's saying the club look attractive. The club look attractive to these other players. We've been talking about this for months on this channel. He said, I think West Ham is a huge club in London. Again, another attractive quality. A lot of these players want to come and play in London. And I think we can keep at this level. We've got a great England international in our team. We've got really good Czech Republic players in the team. We've got more international players than we've had before. And I hope that we're growing and improving. He said, not quite 2 years ago when I came in, the job was to get a team going in the right direction and see if we could start to build and grow. I think there are signs of those shoots going up, and we need to keep it going. Again, this is really important in the terms that David Moyes is talking about here, in terms of improving the team shoots growing. You can see and you can sense in the way that he's speaking, he's so far away from what he considers to be the finished project. Look, David Moyes would like to get in Champions League this season. He'd like to get in Champions League last season. I'll tell you now, David Moyes' plan is to get in the Champions League in 3 or 4 seasons on a regular basis. That's what he's planning. He doesn't see this as being... I sometimes look at it and think, oh, we're 2 or 3 players away from the finished team. David Moyes isn't thinking like that at all. David Moyes is talking about the start of a project. Shoots, green shoots. That's green shoots. That's the start of growth. This is not a big old bush, if you know what I mean. The green shoots rather than the mature bush. There we go. Anyway, children. So I just thought that was Really, really interesting what he was saying there. In particular, we're attractive to these new players, but also these other players, and the big agents are putting good players in front of me. That's his point. I'm getting to see good players now. They're not offering him any old crap anymore. He's not going to be offered Andre Ayew in 2 years' time, you know. So I don't think it's quite the pick of the bunch, but he's been offered better players. That's got to be a good thing, certainly, hasn't it? What do you think about his comments though with the striker and defender thing? I wouldn't be surprised. I think he might be playing possum. But I don't know. I just feel like he's preparing us for bad news. Surely he can't, can he? Surely he can't. I don't know as much as David Moyes. He might know better than me. Actually, buying another centre half might be the right thing to do. That being said, if it does happen, far less itchy, this jumper. Not as fibrous, is it? It's probably actually looking, because I've got basically when I do this video, I've got lights there and there. As you can see, the shadows from it. It's probably blinding you, isn't this white jumper? I'll tell you now, it won't stay white for very long, particularly not once I have something to eat in it. I don't know what I'm talking about. What am I talking about? That's it. Yeah, so if he's not going to buy a striker, we better start seeing what Perkins can do from tonight. I'll catch you later. Enjoy the game.